Jeff Manchester here. Welcome to another Let's Plug video. Today we're going to be plugging the Soundtoys Sie-Q, which is a free, by the way, until tomorrow. Today is October 12th. Tomorrow it's October 13th. It won't be free anymore, although they might extend it, but if they don't, just get it. It's a free EQ. It's modeled after an old Siemens W295B, which is said to be a sort of secret weapon on mixing and tracking and all the rest of it. Bottom line is, if Soundtoys are interested and they've modeled it, then it's definitely at least worth checking out. We have four main controls here. So the lows, the mids, the highs, and drive. Drive is a bit of a saturator, and there's some clever gain reduction stuff happening here so that we don't peak and go into the red. The lows, plus or minus 15 dB. If we're cutting, it's a bit of a shelf. If we're boosting, it's a nice sort of bell curve. Let's have a look at the EQ that Soundtoys included in the manual. Always read the manuals, guys. So that's what it looks like there. So we have a bit of a shelf there and a bit of a nice bell happening here if we're going to be adding some frequencies. So they all seem to happen, I guess the main action right around here. So probably at about 300 or 400 hertz, we start cutting or boosting. So that's sort of fixed in. However, we have a bit more flexibility in the mids. As you can see, we can choose, and this is said to be faithful to the Siemens, we can choose between these different sort of cycles and then boost or cut by -8 or +8 dB. So the real action here is in the highs. It really brings out the shimmer and the life of your tracks, I find, right here. And just like the lows, if we're cutting, it's a bit of a shelf. If we're boosting, it's a really nice, gentle sort of bell curve, plus or minus 15 dB. Let's just hear the audio that we're going to be working with today. Everything's bypassed, so this is what everything sounds like without any Sie-Qs on them. Check it out. Okay, enough of that. Let's just start right here on the synth, all right? I have a Sie-Q loaded, and okay, so I'm going to return everything to default. I'll just switch a preset on, then go back to default. Everything is at 0. Everything's at midnight. Okay, let's just solo the synth. Listen with me. Headphones or monitors are best, by the way. So this is before. And this is after. Before. So this EQ is it's like a girlfriend. It just brings out the best in you. Brings out the best in the synth. Let's hear it in the mix. Sounds like that's always how it should have been. Here's bypassed. So now it's not doing anything. Here's after. Okay, so that's before and after on the synth. Now, we could put it, just like we did, like a channel strip, like an insert on the drums or the bass. But I find a much better application, if you're going to be using this EQ to do some fun stuff with either drums or bass, is to actually use it as a return. Use it as some parallel EQ, if you will, much like you would a compressor, and throw some stuff into it like a parallel compressor, New York style compression. So I have a return track created here, and I have a Sie-Q which has been bypassed, so no funny business here in this demo. I'm going to turn it on, I'm going to click the toolbar, and we have a little preset here which is Bus Magic. I'm going to hit that, and what I'm going to do, see, this is on return B, and by the way, if you're using Pro Tools, this is like aux, right? And I have my B here, so B here, and then B here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the audio and slowly send I guess a cut of the signal of the bass and the drums to that sort of parallel EQ bus so you can hear what it sounds like once those two instruments have passed through it. So let's just play the audio, and I'm going to slowly bring in these two things. So let's hear what the Sie-Q is sort of boosting and cutting. The preset has a little bit of a boost a bit of a boost there in the EQ spectrum to the tune of 3 dB. We're cutting to the tune of maybe 1 dB at 700 cycles, and we're going to add about 5 or so dB of gain with that lovely sort of bell curve in the EQ on the high end, and we're going to add about 6 dB of drive. So let's hear what that sounds like when we take it away. So I'm going to bypass this button here. I'm going to turn this on and off. So this is basically going to make it so that these guys are sending to nothing because there's nothing here for them to send to. And then I'm going to bring it in so you can hear it sort of bypassed on and off. So let's go before. So here's before. Okay, and here's after. Before. After. Before. So as you can hear, the kick is much snappier. The bass is certainly a lot snappier, and it just sounds like, you know, everything's sort of sitting a little bit better. It's a bit warmer. It's a bit sort of, it kind of pumps a little better. One last thing I want to show you is, I think, a really cool application for this EQ, and that's to put it on the master. A lot of people would use like a really expensive Moog EQ to sort of bring out, it's sort of like a master bus, sort of 2-bus EQ along with some compression and stuff. People are always asking me, like, what's on your mix bus or whatever. They're referring to this. They're referring to the stereo bus. And not a lot is the answer. I don't really put a lot of stuff on the master. I do all my mixing. You know, I do a lot of bus stuff and insert stuff, but every now and then I will add something, and I find that the Sie-Q really does, for free, with the Moog EQ, which is a bit expensive, does really well, which is to bring out the highs. So let's have a listen here. I've got this bypassed. I'm going to turn it on, and what I'm going to do is just do some sort of master bus compression. I'm going to bring everything to 0, like that. And what I'm going to do is just sort of maybe boost a little bit in the lows, maybe take away some in the mids. So basically doing a little bit of sort of mastering EQ here, and then bring out some stuff in the highs, and maybe add a touch of drive, but make sure that it doesn't, you know, introduce any peaking or any crushing or anything like that going on. So I'm just going to shut up in EQ. Here we go. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I like that. If I want, I can go here and save it as a preset. I'm not going to, though. But let's listen before and after, okay? So this is before. Sorry, before. After. Again, before. After. So I've just done a bit of work in the mids here. Let's do, just to be fair, a before and after now that I've done that work. So before. After. Anyway, so as you can see, it adds, I think, for no money at all, a really nice sort of Moog-like musicality on the master bus. Cool return stuff, as you saw with when I put it on the on that bus B, and some really cool stuff on individual tracks like the synth. So anyway, that's my little Let's Plug video. Soundtoys. Go to the website, get it before tomorrow because it's free. And yeah, like, subscribe, share, blah blah blah. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.